Hi everyone, my name is Bobby from FIBA Motorsport and welcome to my 2G DSM subframe. In this video I'm going to talk to you about why this is a really good upgrade and just some of the key features and worthwhile why it's the best subframe that you'll possibly ever need and ever want on your 2G DSM. This specific setup only fits the 4G based engines, so it's 4G64, 4G63. The 420A has not been developed yet because I need to move some bits around like the roll stop and the cross member as well. But I haven't got there just yet, but if it's an item that is going to be needed, I will do the revisions to make sure that happens. So I'll initially start off with just saying that the OEM subframe is heavy, it's ugly, it's very space restricting, and you're very restricted in terms of all the mountings and what you can and can't do with everything. Plus you got the cross members and all the strengthening sides of it. So when I developed this subframe, it took me the best part of about a year and probably about a year and quarter, year and a half. I went through many revisions, many designs, in fact, and came up with this one in the end, which served many purposes. It's strong in every direction, so I had to calculate all of the forces going in vertical, sideways, where everything's being loaded, plus think about the chassis rigidity as well. So I took that into consideration while I was designing this. And this is how I ended up. And it's a very, very good piece of art, if you want to call it art as well. So I'll start with the initial frame here. So we have your lower arm mountings. We have 4 different adjustments here. So the one up from the bottom is your factory location mark. Each one of these holes is spaced at 1/2 inch increments or 12.7 millimeters. This is so you can adjust roll center should you wish to do that. They're reinforced with these side plates, and then on the hardware you get washers as well, which will then locate into here. So you've got a double fixture point of an outer washer for load spreading, and also you got your 12mm bolt hole as well. This was because so many people want to do so many different applications from racing to street. It's just an option that if I can get it in there, I will get it in there for you. There's no point in making something and only getting half of something or only one adjustment. With all of my products, if I can give you everything, you'll get everything. There's no point in holding back. The next car to my car to another car, they're all going to be set up different. They're all going to want different setups, and no one car is going to be exactly the same and be like, that's how you should have it. So I made sure that I have a wide range of adjustments on that front. So from here we have the 4 mounting points, which are actually to the chassis itself. I don't have them here, but I have 3 options for mounting pads. I have rubber, I'll have nylon, and I'll have aluminum. So depending on if you want a bit of comfort, noise, harsh vibration, you'll use the rubber ones. If you want a crossover middle between comfort and you don't mind a little bit of noise, you'll go for the alley ones. And if you're going for an all-out race car, you can just have a straight alley ones. It's just personal preference in what you feel like would be the most ideal situation for you. Same with roll stops. For the front and rear roll stop, I either do a poly bush or I do a alley insert, which again is quite a solid one. So that's another option as well. Bracing wise, Well, the initial frame is where I'll start off in terms of talking of bracing. When I took all of the data for loading, I was looking at where the forces are going in for the arms, the directions, where everything is going to be seen from the mounting points. Not only that, I had to think about compression arms, but I'll come back to these bits in a sec. And I was looking at all of the ways to triangulate everything. Now, triangulation is key to make sure that you're running a very, very stiff product. You want to make sure that you're taking as much loading out of one specific area and spreading it over various areas. Not only does this make sure it's going to be nice and strong, you're not going to tear one single section, it helps with rigidity. So with the side triangle piece here, I didn't just have one down section and that was it. I wanted to make sure that I have an extra strengthening beam here, so that then triangulates it and loads it, supports it for the front and lower arm, which is a nice feature to support, since if you are racing and you don't happen to have the 4-point brace, which I'll also go into in a bit, you've got enough strength in all of these to make sure that it's going to do the job very well. With the front section, we then come down to the back here, and on both of these, they then mount to the rear lower subframe mounting point on the chassis. This is one solid piece as well, so all of the tube on this is all solid CDS, so that adds an extra bit of rigidity going from the front to the rear, because not only does that point now have a stress zone up the top here while mounted, it also is utilizing the rear mounting as a stress zone, because it's also sharing that back here as well. From here and all the way to the front, you have another bar which comes down the side here, so further adding strength from the front to the front lower arm all the way to the rear. It triangulates it in this direction, so you've got no worries about compression going this way or compressive going this way. There's not anything that's going to happen on that. What also helps with this is torsional twisting. Because it's now triangulated in this direction as well, you have no twisting going sideways. With the rear support bars here, which then triangulate into the top main bar, not only do you help support the crossover forces from the front and the rear going over, it also helps twisting also. So that being tied into the main bar will help all the structural stresses from left to right make it even. When you do have the now solid mounted steering rack on there, because it is now solid mounted as well, that also aids in extra strength. Because it now incorporates this and that section, you're also reinforcing this section again on top of everything else that has already been reinforced. So as you can see, I've gone through a great deal of making sure that everything is as strong as possible. It's built on the basis of race car. Race car will put an awful lot of stress through things if they've got aerodynamics, if they've got really big brakes, if they're turning a G1/2, if not more in a corner. They need a lot of strength, and some bits you'll think, well, how can they really deal with it? And that's where this came in. I needed to make sure that everything thrown at it will literally get eaten up by this. And these have been tested on hill cars, time attack cars, even road cars, just to make sure that they handle that too. So they have been well tested, and they are very, very good at what they do. They strengthen the front chassis, also being so rigid now that strut braces aren't really necessary, but you can still have a strut brace if you wish, but there's no problem with running one or not running one. With the front compression arm mountings, they are these pieces here. They are removable. So what happens is you get your little slot and it will sit inside the recess and then mount up. The reason why I did this is because later on, once I finish developing the compression arm as well, because I've got to make compression arms which work with the original mounting plus my other mounting, it's going to have more adjustments like this in the compression arm as well. And the reason why is if you've got so many if you've got so many adjustments for roll center, height, and you don't have the rear one also, you're going to start messing up the front to rear balance. While at the moment it's not really deemed like not as noticeable because no one's going to be sitting up here at the moment until you're low or you want really high roll center. The adjustment needs to be there for future as well, just to make sure that you can balance everything out and make sure that your front to rear balance is right when you're messing around. And you have the option to at the end of the day. As I said, there's no point in having something if you can't have everything. So if you've got 4 at the front, you might as well have 4 at the back as well. And then you can mess around to your heart's content. So they're the compression arm mountings. All of these are plated on the top and bottom and then supported on the outside, so they're really rigid and you won't be able to twist them. So essentially they're very well boxed in, very well strengthened to make sure that you're going to have the most amount of support off of this as well. This bracket is just the underpiece for your steering rack, so that will just clamp there. So that now makes it a solid mounting. So you've got no rubber this side anymore. So that gives basically ultimate feedback with everything. It is going to give you everything you want, and it's not going to start moving around with rubber that's deteriorating over time. With the subframe done, I'll just move this out of the way now, and then I'll go through the other bits. So with the subframe, I have 2 options. I have what they call a road version or a race version. Now, with the road version, you'll utilize your stock cross member or north-south bar, however you call it, or you can utilize one of these which you may already have and own. This will come with a 2-point brace only, so you'll get that as part of the kit. If you use your factory cross member, then that will bolt up on the rear mounting the same as this one, and you don't need to do any more modifications to that. If, however, you do have one of these bars, you'll need to add strengthening ridge plates here, because what happens is you've got the bush and you'll have a plate which will go back, and this is flexible, but because I mount from the rear, it will move all over the place. So you'll need to make sure you add some strengthening plates on there, weld them on and just repaint it, and then that way as it's mounting it'll sit like this. So you've got all the strength back in here, otherwise that'll be really floppy and it won't be very good for you. So that's what you'll get with the 2-point, and you'll be using this or your OEM one. Now if you opt for the race spec subframe, it will be all completely custom, completely different to my spec. You'll have a 4-point lower brace. The reason for the 4-point lower brace is it just gives you that extra bit of strength that you may want. It will also mean that you've got a panel underneath should you wish to bolt onto a scuff pan or something. And as I made 4-point braces for the original subframes anyway, I just thought it was a nice feature to include this, just to make sure, again, triangulation. If you've got everything above triangulated, this also triangulates the bottom. So it's a continuous circle. So if you can strengthen the top and the bottom together, nothing's going anywhere. It's going to be super, super strong, super stiff. And everything you do, it's going to give you the most precise feedback you can possibly have. With the 4-point brace, you get your very own cross member at the front. Again, this will have either a poly bush or a alley insert, depending on what application you want. And then this will just mount into here, through your front roll stop, and then onto your chassis or your lower radiator support. On the bottom here, on this specific version, there will be an alley pad, and I call it a jacking point. So you can, it's a big round pad. You can use it for jacking point. You can unscrew it and you can screw in a tow hook if you wish. So that's always available. You can utilize it with however you like, really. It's an M12 bolt size, so as long as you make sure that you don't over stress it too much. I put a jacking pad there initially because it's much easier to jack on something at the front versus trying to jack on here. One, you don't want to damage your powder coat. Two, it's just a nice feature to include as part of it as well. Plus it's also a stronger area because you have the lower core support there as well. So that's what you'll get if you were to have a race spec subframe, which is a nice little extra feature to have. And yeah, all in, I'm very happy with the subframe design. It's worked for quite a while now and people still race with them. More and more racers are coming to me to grab them. They're fed up with the OEM weights. They're fed up with not being able to work with everything. Space is tight. Once you've got this on, you don't have to worry about space because you can fit your arm in every little gap you can to run lines, brake lines, fuel lines. It just makes it so much easier. With the front subframe, you also get billet front anti-roll bar brackets as well as part of the kit, which will work with all OEM style front anti-roll bars and all of the bushes that fit a stock or aftermarket anti-roll bar, so RM, ST, they'll all fit into that bracket as well. So that's part of the kit, so you don't have to worry about those, and it just finishes off because no one likes to put rusty stuff on nice things. Why would you want to? I just did it to make it a much nicer finished item. So with that said, that is your subframe. If you would like to know more about this, it's on dsmtuners.com, so go check that out. It's on my Facebook page at FIBA Motorsport. I do have a YouTube channel which is not quite dedicated to FIBA at the moment, so I will sort that out shortly. Any questions, just ask away. I'm always here to answer them. But they are all built to order, so there'll be a time frame where I'll do this and do other bits. I've covered pretty much everything. They're strong, they're lightweight. It's the best subframe that you can have for a 2G. Everything's strengthened. You can have the future upgrades of the compression arm mountings once they're done. Obviously with the front compression arms also. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. Apart from thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you liked the subframe as well. And perhaps maybe I get to make you one. It'll be nice to see some more people running out there with them, whether if you're road racing, autocrossing, or just want a really nice street car and you want to look after your car. This will be a nice way to go. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video and I haven't waffled on too much. Yeah, all right, well, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.